welcome on in to another fantastic episode of Bar Talk. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, happy Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Happy New Year, I think, whenever you're listening to this. I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day. So I wasn't planning on doing another show for the year, but a spark ignited in me, let's say. And it made me realize that I felt like we still had, there was one more thing I wanted to say before we kind of start a new year. I'm still working at Pizzeria Portofino, and as corny as this sounds, I always have like a closing line, so to speak, but when I drop off a check for a table. And my closing line the week before Christmas was, guys, thank you so much for coming on in. I hope you guys have a great holiday, a happy new year, and cheers to a better 2021. So I've been saying that to everyone. And I was saying it to a friend the other day. We were taking some shots and he stopped me and he was like, but was 2020 really that bad? And I kind of was like, no, it wasn't. I mean, was it? Like, and hear me out, guys. Just go with me for a second. I'm begging you and pleading. You're here listening, so I'm assuming you're going to. 2020 was bad. There's no doubting that. We've lost people. People have died. People have lost jobs. People have lost loved ones. It's definitely been a trying time. But I've learned a lot this year. And I wanted to share that with you guys, hoping that maybe you've learned some stuff too, but you just haven't changed your perspective on the year. I've had some really valuable life lessons come my way. I've come to a lot of realizations about life and people. I've pursued my dream. And I've been doing this thing called an ego check, which I will get into at the very end. So let's start with some lessons that I've learned. I think this year I've learned that I have everything I need. And I think we as a society sometimes get really like lost in the materialistic side of things. We love to play the comparison game. I like to think I don't all the time, but there are definitely times that I do. Whether it comes to not having the nicest car or the newest purse or the latest gadgets. I think what made me realize that I have everything this year was actually my dad. And we were having dinner one night. And I feel like anyone knows this. Buying for dads are like impossible. Like I can't ever buy for my dad. But someone asked him what he wanted for Christmas and he raised his hand. He raised his hands up in the air at the kitchen table and he was like, I already got it. It's this. And that was one of those like moments that I think will probably stick with me probably till the day I die. And it just made me realize I have my health. My family has their health. I have a roof over my head and I have food. And it sounds very simplistic, but it's the God's honest truth. I have everything I need. And I don't need everything that I want. So that's the first thing. That was probably the biggest lesson that I've learned this year is that, I got everything. I got everything. This is going to be kind of a strange one, but I've come to some realizations lately. And as you guys have, probably heard from either following me on social media, I talk about journaling. I love to journal. And I always did it as a kid, but this year, I'll read you my New Year's resolutions. I have them written down right here. My goal this year was to journal more and to just kind of get into that right mindset. When the pandemic hit, I said to myself, every day, Jenna, you are going to write down gratitude. You are going to write down what you're grateful for. And the challenge was that each day had to be something different. So I am not going to read them for you, but I will give you some of the ones that probably stood out to me the most. There would be days that I would simply be grateful for a cup of coffee, because there's nothing I love more than enjoying a cup of coffee, like first thing in the morning, like in complete silence as I'm like in my journal. There were days when I was super hungover that I literally wrote down that I was grateful for straws, this straw being one, because I could lay in bed like this and would hydrate me. That's a silly one. But then there would be days that I would be grateful for, certain family members, certain friends. I would be grateful for a nice warm meal. And in the beginning, it was definitely difficult, because I think, again, it's easy to not believe that there are things to be grateful for, but I promise you, there's a lot to be grateful for in life. And one of those was my roommate, Jasper. I'm very grateful for him and for everything that, he's done for me this year. That man is my family. So again, that was definitely a realization that I came to, was my gratitude. But there was this also this other realization, and I listened to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. I feel like I talk about it a lot. I encourage everyone to listen to it. Don't read it, because he narrates it. And there's something really nice about listening to Matthew McConaughey in your ears. When I'm like thinking to myself or I'm writing down, I swear it's a combination of like him talking and like his voice and my voice, and I can't figure out who it is sometimes. But anyways, I don't know. Okay, that's where I'm going with this. Anyways, we're back. I was journaling the other day, and again, the realization, like, I think we always get so caught up at times with where we need to be next. What is the next thing? How can I succeed? How can I improve? What's my next car look like? House look like? Accomplishment look like? We're always looking ahead, and there's nothing wrong with looking ahead, but there is a problem with not being present. And I've realized that the destination is death. That's a bit harsh, but the destination is death and the journey is life. And if we can be fully present in the journey, there are so many more little smaller things that, again, we're going to be really grateful for. Going back to that gratitude, I watched Soul last night. Oh my god, adorable. Disney's really been like stepping up their game, like, again, I don't know who the audience is for Soul, but I don't think it's children, because I just don't. But again, what do I know? But I encourage all of you to watch it, because the message in the movie is really about just like being present in life. And sometimes I think we get caught up in believing that our passion is our purpose. And they talk about that in the movie. And that was a check. I was like, ooh, like, is this my purpose? Is this not my purpose? I don't know. But again, take a second, watch it. It's on Disney Plus. If you guys have a Disney Plus account, go watch it. If not, borrow it from your friends. But believe me, it's a great movie, and you're going to want to watch it. Another thing that made 2020 not so bad, I finally got to pursue my dream, and that is this. And I've talked about it. And I don't know if we'll tell the story fully one day, where I'm not fully there yet, but I had this idea, guys, for a really long time. And my goal this year in my journal, I'm going to pull it up right now. Oh, we're dropping checks. It was called 2020 was the year of action, the year of like getting stuff done. It's written right here. That's my Elsa from Scarlet and Violet. Thanks, girls. But I really wanted to stop being that person that just talked the talk. I wanted to walk the walk. I was sick of feeling like I was a broken record player of like, I talked about this and I'm not doing anything, and like, I got to start doing it. And I really put the pieces in play in the beginning of 2020 with the intention of releasing this on White Sox opening day in, in April of 2020. And then it was kind of like the stars aligned for me, at least, as strange as that might sound. But I'd like to believe that I would have done this if the pandemic never happened. But I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I do it. I really don't. And I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. And in the moment, we may not understand them. It might take you some time to figure it out, but the realization always comes. But where Bar Talk is now compared to where it was 9 months ago is incredible. Like, guys, we gave birth to a baby. Like, essentially that's what this is. Like, it's wild, but it's the God's honest truth. And it's crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And I hope that with whatever time you had during all of this, that you got to do something that you always wanted to do, because the time was now. And I still believe the time is now. Okay. So there are dreams that you want to do, guys, go do it. Okay, let me tell you about the other thing I learned this year, and then I want to go over with you guys my goals that I had for 2020. We'll read those, and but the last thing, this is the last thing. This is something that I think I've just not discovered. That's not the right word. Something that I've been doing lately is I've been giving myself an ego check, and I'm a very spiritual person. I'm very in tuned to myself and my beliefs and, higher power. And sometimes that good old, Kanye, I got a big ego, can get in the way of us doing some incredible things, because that's the job of the ego. The job of the ego is to keep you where you're at, and not get you to where you need to go. So what I've been doing is when I say something or do something that seems a bit not necessarily rational, that's not the right word, but I gotta get new headphones, guys. It sounds a little staticky and fuzzy. Anyways, I've been doing these ego checks, and I basically give myself like a 24-hour cooling period, because I think sometimes when we react like right away in the moment, we get really hot, and we let our emotions get the best of us, and we say things that we don't always mean at times. But after 24 hours, I ask myself, I'm like, is that how I actually feel, or was that my ego? And most of the time it's my ego. There are sometimes where I'm like, no, you actually felt that way, Jen. I'm like, okay, we felt that way. That's okay. But with this ego check thing, guys, I feel like I'm a toddler who's like learning how to walk, because I'm just realizing this. But I encourage you to maybe give yourself an ego check from time to time, because I think a lot of the times we really let our ego and our pride just get in the way of doing some incredible things. So ask yourself that. Am I doing this because it's what I want to do, or is my ego getting in the way of it? And then we'll go over my New Year's resolutions. I love writing down my New Year's resolutions. So I had 5. I had 5 this year. And I would say I accomplished them to a degree. So my first one was to declutter, and it is with objects and people, no more unnecessary baggage. And I think this year made us realize again, like, what we needed. So I decluttered. I'm going to declutter my closet later in the new year because there are just clothes I don't need anymore. I just don't. Um, the other one, and this is actually, you know, we're going to end on that one because it goes into my next point. Use food as fuel. Pay attention to what you're putting into your body. This one, I would say I've done a pretty good job at. At least I hope I have. I love to eat. I love dessert. I love food. I love what food brings to people. I love how it brings people together. And I think when you start realizing that, like, your body is the car and the food is the gas, and like what kind of gas food you're putting into your body really helps how you feel, you pay attention to that stuff. So that's the other one. The Black Bar Challenge, 12 classes per month for 12 months with Pure Bar. I have accomplished that. I'm very proud of myself for that. It was a hard one, but it got to the point where I ended up doing more than 12 classes per month because it just felt so good for my head. Gross. Yeah. No, I hit 12 classes on Christmas Eve. So I'm going to do a few more. What do we got? Today's the 28th. Yeah. So I'll probably do two or three more just for the end of the year, just because it feels nice and nice to get a sweat on. Wake up earlier. Early bird gets the worm. This is, I would say sometimes I come from a family of sleepers. Sometimes you just need to sleep, and sometimes your bed feels really, really nice. But I'm getting better at it. I am not where I want to be. But that also comes with, like, I think going to bed earlier, and sometimes it's just really hard. So we'll work on that. But number two, so my second goal, and this will go into kind of what we'll end on, was to be financially smarter. And it said pay off credit cards, unsave money, start investing, only buy what you can afford. And that is hilarious for many reasons. Because for 7 months of the year, I've been unemployed. And out of those 7 months that I was unemployed, 5 of those months I had no income. My unemployment came 5 months late, and I pretty much ran through my savings, and that sucked, like really sucked. But I think I did get financially smarter. Money's always been a tough thing. No one really talks about money. Maybe you do, and I'm just not in those conversations. I don't know. But I'm working on being financially wiser and financially smarter. And I guess I did get financially smarter, maybe not in the savings, because there was nothing for me to save. I was, kind of staying afloat, to be quite honest. But buy only what you can afford was definitely the God's honest truth. And it made me realize that there are just certain things I don't need. And I realized too that I was buying things to fill like a void in me. Yeah, that's sad, right? Sad, but it's the truth. And I said to you guys, I'll always be honest here. And it's kind of crazy. I love to look back on the year and reflect, and I tend to do it a lot, and I can honestly say, like, no bullshit, 2020 has been the best year of my life. Crazy, right? I had no income. There were people I lost. And I may have not gained wealth and materialistic things, but I gained knowledge. I gained understanding. I gained a sense of connection with people and with my higher power. And I don't have all of those realizations without everything that we've gone through this year. And that's pretty beautiful. So I encourage all of you guys to do two things. And I hope you do. And you don't have to necessarily I would love for you to write them down, because I think there's something really powerful about pen to paper. And just sometimes we get really like clustered in here and in our heads, and it can be overwhelming at times. And then when you write it down on paper, there's a sense of clarity. So you can write this down and burn it for all you want. You can write it down and rip it up. You can write it down and save it for a rainy day. But I encourage everyone here to do two things if you can. And the first one would be, I want you to really reflect on the year, and I want you to gain a different perspective. So this is actually what I want you to do right now, unless you're driving. If you're driving, don't do that, because this is not safe. If you're in your house right now, or if you're somewhere where you're not operating a vehicle or like a machinery, I want you to go to a spot in your house, in a bar, or wherever it is you're at, and I want you to sit somewhere in your house that you've never sat before. Whether it's like, I'm just looking at my door frame into my bedroom. So like sit on the floor next to the door, sit in a spot on the couch that you normally don't sit in the chair at the kitchen table that you never sit in. And I want you to, and the reason I'm asking you to do this, you can even like turn upside down, like put your legs in the air and like just look at things. Like I want you to look at things from a completely different perspective. I want you to flip the coin and look at things differently. And this might be hard for some of you guys, and that's okay. Okay, you're doing something new. So again, this isn't gonna be miraculously the best thing you do overnight, but I really want you to take the time to shift your perspective from here to here and realize that you gained a lot this year, whether you realize it or not. So I encourage you to flex that muscle and figure out what it is. My last thing I ask for you guys to do is write down what you want for this coming year, and be very particular with your wording. Figure out what it is that you maybe want to accomplish, what you want to gain, what you want to be better at, even if it's being present. Maybe your goal for this coming year is to be fully present in each moment. I encourage you all to do that, and I think you'll be surprised at what will come. And I want you to just kind of let the pen go. And now hear me out. Don't get in your head. Get a blank piece of paper, get a pen, get in a good state of mind, be in a quiet place, place where you can maybe think the best, and just let the pen go. Don't necessarily think about it. Like, see what it is that your subconscious is trying to tell you, because it's definitely trying to tell you something. But you got to get in a really quiet space first in order to do that, okay? Okay. That's all I got for you. So again, this is going to be a shorter show today. I had all of these kind of realizations, I guess we'll say, at once. And I wanted to share them with you guys for the end of the year. I love the end of the year. I love the beginning of the new year. And again, I know this year has been very hard, and it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's been a storm. This year has been a storm. But I think you learn the most valuable lessons from the storm. So I don't want to like discredit how hard this year has been, because it has. And if you've just survived this year, guys, that's enough. That's enough too. It's been a rough year on a lot of people. So again, don't want to discredit that. I understand that. I understand we've lost people. I've lost people that I've cared about, and it, breaks my heart. And I still believe that it was a good year too. All right. That's all I got for you today. I will see all of you in the beginning of 2021. And I want you all to take the time today to realize that we have way more in common with each other than we have different. I'll see you next time. Take care.
Hey everybody, it's closing time. You don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.